Nice. Pretty fun. All right.
Sweet. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Guitar Riff. My name is Kent.
My name is Kent.
We are both Kents, and we're both here to teach you today about strings.
Sorry, let me stop you there.
Oh, take two.
My name's actually Ayla, guys. I'm sorry I tricked you. But it's okay. We're here to talk about string size, as Kent said.
Yes, and I forgot we were going to talk about my guitar first.
Oh, right. Okay, so before we get there, there's this very gorgeous guitar that Kent seems to be holding. The other Kent.
I seem to be holding.
You seem to be holding it.
It seems like I'm holding it.
The jury's out on that one. But, you know, if let's say you were holding this guitar.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yes, it was impromptu because I got it back from the guitar tech before the, literally 15 minutes before we went live. So
perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So yeah, it's a Jazzmaster guitar. I saw a question of people talking about what guitars we were playing. So I've got the old Fender Jazzmaster here. But
I'll talk about mine after.
Yeah, perfect. Actually, we kind of have similar shapes, that kind of offset.
Oh, yeah.
Thingy.
Oh, yes, we do.
But yeah, so the Jazzmaster, I bought this. It's actually a Mexi Jazzmaster. Really love it. But I'm really excited about it because I'm kind of a nerd with the spec things.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. But yeah, this guitar has flat wound strings on it. We're talking about strings a little later today. So compared to round wounds, I always get that round wounds. It's hard to say.
It is hard to say.
It's a tough one. But these are flat wounds.
Flat wounds.
Flat. But yeah, and I did some mods as far as the tone pots. I'm actually really liking it. I think it's sounding good.
I think so too. I think it sounds really nice.
Yeah, some of you may have guitars that are overly bright sounding, and sometimes the secret is may just be the pot value of the, and pot value, I'm talking the volume and tone knobs. We call those are potentiometers. Also known as pots, that have different values. And so the higher the value, the more high end there is on your instrument. Typically with single coils, it's, I always get this backwards. It's 250 for single coils, 500 for humbuckers. But this guy had a whopping 1 meg pot, so it was bright. It was ear piercing for everybody.
Yeah.
And now I put 250K pots in, so it's a little lessen the blow, you know? It's
to your ears.
Less of an audio assault on your ears. It's more of a gentle caress on your ears now.
Beautiful.
So I'm very excited about it. And I got some copper shielding because normally it would be buzz mania right now. And as we can hear, we can enjoy the silence.
I do enjoy the silence.
Which everybody knows. If anybody has owned a Jazzmaster, you know they are noisy, real noisy. So yeah, anyway, so that's this guitar. I'm really stoked. I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm doing some discovery right now to start this stream off. So
amazing.
I'm sure everybody wants to know about your guitar. It's a bit of a unique one, right?
It is. And again, if anyone is finding that their tone is too bright, you could also consider turning the lights down in your room. Sorry. That pun was going to be better a minute ago, but I decided to not interrupt you. And I thought I would just bring it out now, even though it's not even relevant to what we're talking about anymore. But to address your question, this is the original 2018 Fender Meteora. It's essentially a Frankenstein hybrid of a Jazzmaster and a Tele. You can see, of course, it has the weird offset Jazzmaster body shape. And then it has the Tele pickups and, this kind of setup around this part of the guitar. And yeah, it's a weird one. I love it though. It essentially sounds like a Tele, but obviously looks very unique. And yeah, I'm very lucky that Fender just sent her on over to me.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's become one of my favorites. I use it in the studio often. I just used it in the studio over the weekend, and I had a good time.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It's kind of got that Tele twang, but a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it's a little more unique. And I do appreciate the person who said that they love my shoes. I am a bit of a sneakerhead, for those who didn't know. So that means a lot. It's a high compliment to me. If you ever want to compliment me and really make me blush, compliment my shoes.
Fun facts for today. Yeah. Amazing. Cool. So today we're talking strings. Yeah. String size. Yeah. So guitar players, we're talking electric strings today. We probably will do another one on acoustic strings, but I didn't want to get into it because acoustic strings, you're dealing with like material differences
Yeah.
on top of string size. So
Just a whole other topic.
It's a whole beast. It probably requires its own show, which will come. So today is going to be predominantly electric strings, entirely electric strings. But if you play acoustic, the same principles are kind of there. Like you still, like the size, how sizing works and the differences that it makes will be pretty much the same in concept. It's just the numbers will be different.
Totally. And so I think we should talk a little bit about, what are the variables that are affected by changing the gauge of your strings. I'd say most importantly, it would be how they feel.
Yeah.
Of course, as you go to a heavier string gauge, there's just so much more tension. But the whole reason a lot of people are into heavier strings is because they believe that it affects the tone and makes it thicker and richer. And it's kind of a polarizing topic in the community, which is why we chose it, guys.
Yeah. And I should also mention the company of the string doesn't really impact like what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So whether you are an Ernie Ball person or a Guitareo person or GHS
or shoestrings.
If you like shoestrings, it all applies.
What's a shoestring? I meant shoelace.
Shoestring.
Shoestring?
Shoestring.
Like here are the shoestrings in my shoes.
Yeah, or like the French fries, the shoestring French fries. That's where my mind went.
There you go.
It was just lunch, so I guess my brain's still at lunchtime. But yeah, so the Elixir, I mean, it's the same thing. Whether we'll talk about coating versus uncoated strings. I saw that in the chat there, Andrew. But yeah, so first thing, there are a bajillion, what feels like to me a bajillion gauges, but we usually talk about the high E string. So when we refer to the set as that, there are some variances within sets there. I find they're getting more and more customizable as time goes on. Yeah. Like when I was a kid, it was like you had like 5 options, and it was like, if you didn't like those 5, well, too bad, you had to go like real custom and order single strings, which I guess you could still do.
We've come so far.
It's a great time to be a guitar player. So much out there.
Yes.
But yeah, so we're gonna talk through the differences. The most common ones you're gonna see are probably 9s, 10s, and 11s. Unless you're like a jazz guitarist, you're probably not, or like a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan enthusiast, you're probably not going above 11s. If you do, that's awesome. Maybe put it in the chat. I'd love to know who's playing on telephone wire strings. But I think some of the vintage stuff, they were all on really thick strings back in the day. But I don't know. We have different guitars. You may see our armada of guitars behind us. They have different gauges of strings. So we're going to go through each of them and kind of give you our thoughts on the strings. But yeah, I think Ayla and I actually both use pretty much the same set all the time. We're both 10s. I think 10s is like the like Goldilocks, like happy.
To me, yes, definitely. And I'm sure to you as well.
I think a lot of players, 10s are kind of the like middle of the road. Maybe put it in the chat. I'd love to know what everybody's using. Even if you play acoustic, if you can put light, medium, heavy, whatever. Yeah. I'd love to know what everybody's using.
But I love 10s because they're just enough tension to have a little bit to fight against, but there's still that ease of, you're not like really fighting against the guitar. And, I've tried heavier strings and, I wanted to try them mostly to see if I could use them. And I could, but it just didn't feel as inspiring to me. I was focusing too much on just fighting against the guitar. And I like to be able to think a little less when I'm playing.
Totally. Yeah. And some people really need the fight, I think.
Yeah.
And
like
some players,
Stevie Ray.
Yes, he knew. That dude had behemoth hand. I don't know how, or like Pat Martino too. Pat Martino played on like 16s or something, like really, really like monster strings. And again, we're talking about the high E strings, so everything would follow. So you're talking about like really thick, like what would be like probably your B or G string, depending on the set, being the high E. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think when I was in jazz school, it was always like go up because that's like the jazz world is like 12s, 13s, like let's get some beat. You're not bending very much in traditional jazz, so you don't need the ability to like really maneuver those strings as much.
It's true. I think there is a degree to which the style of music you play has certain norms, and of course you can always break those norms. But again, as you were saying in jazz, pretty common to have your heavier strings because that's how you get like the very classic jazz tone. Like I think Joe Pass, Wes Montgomery, like huge hollow body Gibsons, mostly like flat wounds, heavy strings,
Yeah.
and not a lot of bending. And then with more shredder type players, I think 9s are pretty common.
Some even go down to 8s.
8s, you could do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, the point of all of it too is like, don't be afraid to experiment and find what works for you.
Absolutely.
I think the best place to start is to find the player that you're trying to sort of sound like. We all kind of have our big hero, right? Like that is like, I kind of want to sound like this person. And that's usually a good place to start. So if you're a huge like Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, maybe you do start with 13s and then realize how difficult it is and then go down from there.
Totally.
Or if you're a beginner player and you're finding things really tough, going down a string gauge is totally fine. There's really no issue with doing that. Everything's the same. You just feel the tension a little bit differently, and it might be even better. Like if you're finding like, oh, this is really killing my hands. I think most guitars ship with 10s at this point. Some are 9s, but most are 10s.
Mostly 10s.
Mostly 10s. So if you bought it from the shop and you don't know what's on there, very likely 10s, but not always. But you can always look it up on the guitar manufacturer's site too. They'll probably say what they put what strings they put on there.
Yeah.
But you can always go down and see how it feels, and then work your way back up if you want. And you might love 9s, and that's like where you're at, you know?
Or lighter. I see someone in the chat said they used 8s. That's okay too. I mean, didn't Jamie Page use 8s or 7s or something super light? I think
so,
right?
yeah.
And Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top also.
Yeah, I think Van Halen did too.
Van Halen,
he was on 8s as well.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And you know, my hot take, and I'll ask you for your hot take in a second, but I think that a lot of guitar players end up, after decades of playing, with overuse injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I think it's probably less possible or less probable that'll happen if you use lighter strings. So that's something to think about. I don't know if 10s even are too heavy. Like if you're playing for decades, I don't know. I'm no expert.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, crossed my mind, but I'd imagine someone who uses like 8s would be in a better position potentially to not develop those overuse injuries than someone using 10s or 13s or 46s. 46.
That'd be
46.
Huge. Can you imagine?
Yeah, what would that be?
Guitar would be like, you'd have to have a guitar the size of the back wall here.
Awesome.
For those, that'd be amazing. That's our next project in Guitareo is a building-sized guitar.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you're right. Even Stevie Ray Vaughan, I read, went down to lighter strings towards the end of his life, and just because they were so beefy. And to do those kinds of bends.
I mean, he was putting glue on his fingertips, like,
oh wow,
frequently.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that's I think how he would cope with.
Don't glue your fingers to your strings. Just
right.
PSA there.
That's
probably
important.
We don't recommend that.
Have you tried that, Kent?
No, but I will when I go home. So if I come tomorrow with a guitar attached to my fingers, we'll know what happened.
We will know. And as I said a moment ago, I was going to ask you if you had any hot takes. I just want to know, like, let's get something controversial.
Hot string takes?
Or just in general, guitar hot takes.
Guitar hot takes? Ooh, I'm going to go, I'll keep it in the string world. This is going to be a really hot take because we are doing a Guitareo giveaway later. I think there's no difference between string manufacturers.
Kent, how could you say that?
I know, it's wild. I think there's subtle differences unless it's like if you do like coated strings, like elixirs are different because they are coated. It is a very different thing. But if we're comparing like the exact same string gauge between two separate companies, I think they're like virtually the same thing. Physically the same thing, not virtually. There's no virtual strings, I guess. But they're like physically, I don't know. I've always played Guitareo strings more out of
loyalty.
More out of loyalty. When I was a kid, I collected they had points on the back of their strings.
Oh.
This was long, and I was saving up to buy, you could return the packaging to get products in exchange, so t-shirts, whatever. And I wanted the Guitareo stool so badly, and then they stopped the player points program before, and I had mountains of string. It's okay. I have a Guitareo. I found one actually, a Guitareo stool. So all is good in the world of Kent right now. But as far as stools are concerned, but I saved up for so long, and I was so bummed when anyway. But anyway, my hot take is that I don't think there's that much discrepancy between all the string manufacturers. I think they're all fairly similar. Like whether you're a Guitareo person or Ernie Ball person or whatever. I think they're all good. I think String Joy. Oh, Andrew's firing up in the chat there. String Joy. I haven't tried String Joy out. And I will say there's one, John Pierce strings I found were a little different. Those were the only ones where I was like, oh, that's interesting. They do more coils per, I don't know how they measure it. There's just more wraps on theirs. That was the only one I noticed the difference, but I don't use them. So
clearly you didn't like them.
Apparently not. I know nothing against John Pierce strings. If you love them, that's great. I don't know. I've just been stuck in the Guitareo world, I guess. Loyalty. That's one thing you'll get. String loyalty. I think everybody's in their string camps. Actually, what is everybody using?
I use Ernie Balls.
I know you're an Ernie Ball artist. So you're all about the Ernie Ball strings.
All about them. And I like the colors that the packages come in, you know?
You know what? The colors are important, I think.
It's true. A lot of people do hear with their eyes. This is a fact. And this applies to a lot of different areas of music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm just looking at the chat. There's a lot of Ernie Ball users. Mm-hmm. String Joys, Guitareo, everybody's... Oh, our Jack behind the scenes is saying Ernie Ball is the best. Objectively correct. Objectively, yeah.
Someone just he just threw these strings at me. Imagine if I fell over on camera. I didn't, but here, I mean, these are what I use as well. And for some reason, there's a piece of tape stuck
not normally included
to the top. Yeah, that's not a usual feature. Ooh, yeah, these are exactly what I have on my guitar. But these were just thrown at me from across the room. So
I use the NYXLs from Guitareo.
I've used those as well. I used to use them a lot, and I also like the colors that they come in.
Yeah, totally.
In, you know? I think that's why I chose them in the first place.
I'm just about to switch. I think to their new XS strings.
Oh yeah,
those ones. I'm on the coated string train now. Yeah? I think I'm jumping on there.
I'm not. And I shan't jump.
Oh yeah, wait till you try some coated coated strings.
I won't try.
Well, we're gonna change that because we have a guitar behind us with coated strings. So
I won't play it. I'll boycott this guitar.
But I won't tell you which one it is. Actually, that'd be kind of fun. We're gonna do that.
Actually, yeah. Let's see if I can guess.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do that in a little bit. But yeah. So string wise, that's my hot take. I think all the companies. I mean, whatever company you go with, you'll be fine. All the strings I've tried are all great. I think like string manufacturing is just like generally solid. Like I don't think there's a company where you buy where they like these strings are always terrible. I think those days are long gone. I remember when I was younger that was not the case with all those string companies. But you get some real. It was like 50% of the time would break upon tightening.
Oh, nice.
But
do you want to drop the names of those companies?
Absolutely
and shame them?
Not.
No.
No.
All right.
But they may have been named already in this video.
Whoa, controversy.
Amazing. Okay. Not coated on electric. Oh no, we're getting fired up. I'm getting Andrew fired up. Andrew is on the Guitareo
team. Andrew has strong opinions about tone.
We're going to see. Maybe Andrew will convert. We'll see.
Only time will tell?
Only time will tell. Andrew did get me on these picks, though. I'm using these chicken picks now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait, let me see if I remember what you said. They are really good because, what did you say? Because they don't get worn down?
Oh, you're thinking blue chip.
I'm thinking like of the other ones.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But that's okay. These are cool, too. I think you'd have to, like, really beat these up to get these to wear. But, yeah, they're really neat. I'm just testing these out. Oh, we're getting a close-up. Chicken pick 2.0.
So what's so cool about it?
It's the material, I think. Today's not a day on picks, but let's do picks.
Yeah, at some point we got to talk about it.
This is the pick I'm using. I just got it last week, so I wouldn't say I'm like, I don't know. I'm not like convert yet. I'm still I'm testing the waters.
Transition.
I'm enjoying these a lot though.
Okay.
I will say.
So
and they're not as expensive as blue chip picks either.
Oh,
although I love blue chip picks. They're amazing, but they're so expensive. What pick are you using?
Oh, I'm using the classic Dunlop 1.14 picks. I initially got them because I love that they're purple, to be honest. I'm going to be real with you.
Yeah, can't go wrong. I mean, the color, we're coming back to color matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, nothing sounds like purple, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Not blue.
No.
Or red. But if you mix them together.
Those Dunlop picks are solid, though.
Yeah, and I've actually found that, interestingly enough, these are quite popular and common. 100%. I know a lot of players who almost exclusively use these as well. And I like the rigidity of them. You know, comfortable. Rigidity.
That's a good word. Word of the day. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said too. I think a lot of guitar players who tour use like fairly inexpensive picks. If you lose it and you have to go to the local music shop, they might not carry like blue chip picks. Like if you were like exclusively using those and you're like, oh, I lost it. And then you cry because you have to like refinance your house or car or whatever. And then like, and get another pick. But yeah.
Also, someone said color is the dumbest reason to choose a pick, lol. Okay, keep in mind, I was like 12, okay? And here's the thing. Yes, initially the reason was a little dumb because I had a purple guitar and I was like, oh my God, it's all gonna match. But then it turns out that I really liked the color. But also the feel. And most importantly now, the feel. And I'm loyal to them and I'm used to them, so.
Today's overarching theme of the riff is loyalty. Loyalty, who knew?
Yeah.
Life lessons along with guitar lessons. Okay,
beautiful.
Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Let's do it.
Okay, we're gonna ditch our current instruments.
Okay.
We're going to, as I bang around here, we're gonna go through, we have a bunch of guitars here today. Not just because we want to just show them off because it's like, wow, cool, look at all these guitars. But each of these are strung with a different set of strings. We're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah.
This is guitar number 1.
All right. And is the idea that we know the string size?
I know the string size.
You know the string size. I don't know the string size.
But I don't think you know.
Well, this one, I mean, these are 9s.
They are 9s. 100%. They are 9s.
Light strings.
I think you can tell, like, I think some people think it's crazy that guitar players may know. Just like you knew that in like 5 seconds that those were 9s.
Well, they're just very vibratoable. I tried my vibrato. Oh, let's keep it in drop D. And yeah, it just obviously felt a lot easier than my guitar back there, which has 10s. Muscle memory, I'd have to adjust to this guitar because
it's the bending, right?
Yeah,
it changes so much. It's crazy.
But it's definitely, it's a lot easier to get.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a great bending exercise there.
It sure is.
Incredible. Yes. I think for me, I feel like whenever I play 9s, I feel like I'm playing a toy or something. I don't know what it is. I'm like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
I need that resistance.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just because they feel thin, but it sometimes feels like they have less sustain. But then again, that's the big controversy amongst guitar players, where some people are like, oh, they definitely have less sustain, if they're thin. Thinner tone, less sustain, whatever. And then there are people who are like, no, that doesn't make any difference. It's more about the actual guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't know if I have enough. I'm trying to think. I had a guitar where I went from 10s down to 9s.
Yeah.
And I immediately went back to 10s. Like it was like, I literally put the 9s on and I was like, nope. And just like, and cut them off. And
that's a no.
Yeah, it's a hard no for me. But obviously I'm as I get older, I'm like, I know what I like at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm not open to new ideas, I guess. So, so I guess going down to 9s was a big old no. Somebody I saw in the chat was bringing up scale length as part of it. I think that's actually a really important thing to bring up with your string size. So scale length is talking about the distance from the nut of the guitar, which is, I don't have a guitar. You can be my demonstrator, from the nut of the guitar down to the bridge of all the way down, the scale length, how far that is. It is not... Every guitar is not made equal.
Yeah.
You'd think they might be, but they are not. Gibson, Epiphone, whatever, scale lengths are shorter. Fender is a little bit longer. So your 10s on your Gibson might not feel the same as your 10s on your
That's a great
Fender.
point.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, I guess,
Yeah.
to keep in mind. So if you are playing a shorter scale guitar, you might want to, like, if you have like a Jaguar that are like tiny, and you put like 9s on it, like
It'll be
it would
super
be
light.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to like 9s on maybe a Jazzmaster that has like a very long kind of, the distance is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I've definitely found that's one reason that, because I have a Jazzmaster, and there was one time I tried to play a show with it, and I was playing with my band Ludic, where a lot of the solos are very bend heavy, because I wrote them and I'm a bend heavy player, but yeah, I found that it was like a little bit too much to fight against. I had 10s on there, but again, the 10s on my Jazzmaster versus the 10s on my Duo Sonic, which is what I typically play with when I play live, it just feels so different. Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
And also, it was interesting to look in the chat. Andrew, who's a tone expert, was saying he does not believe that string size affects the tone in any meaningful way.
Ooh, that's a real hot take.
It's a hot take. So if that were true, then, the feel is the most important thing.
Sure. Yeah. Interesting. I feel like I would say the string itself maybe doesn't affect the tone very much, but how I react to that string affects the tone, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But I think that comes down to the feel of it. It alters the way that I play.
Sorry. I misquoted Andrew.
Oh,
he
good.
said
Just throw words.
sustain. He said sustain. It does affect tone overall EQ.
Ah, I see. Okay, yes. Yeah.
Look at me misquoting someone on a live stream. Isn't that awesome? Okay, yeah. So the sustain is not affected, but tone, EQ, sort of like how much high end you can hear versus low end, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, there's a few videos of guitar players I've seen on YouTube go through different sets of strings and like right back to back, and hearing some of the differences. Okay, let's swap guitars.
Let's do it.
That's what everybody's here for, guitar swap.
Indeed.
Okay.
I should probably unplug it, right?
Yeah, Kayla. Take Kayla's pedal board with us. Okay, guitar number 2.
It was a weird sound. I will not be making it again.
Oh yeah, you really got to push that in. You'll hear a good pop. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. There you go. I didn't tune that one before. Might need a little.
Yeah, it's like, the lower strings sound in tune, and then I got to the higher strings. I'm like, no. Am I supposed to guess what's on here?
Yep.
All right. Definitely a lot heavier. Definitely feels, I want to say these are probably 11s. Yeah, they definitely feel a little more
beefy.
Beefy. More beefy than my usual 10s.
They are not 11s.
What?
Yeah, those are 10s, but they're coded 10s.
Oh.
These are the coded strings.
That's why they feel different. I actually kind of like how they feel.
I told you you'd convert.
The coded strings I've tried in the past were like awful. Correct. I hated them.
That's
I will
they
not
say
what brand they were.
But they start with an E.
Hey, I said no such thing, Kent. I will destroy you. Okay, yeah. Well, I think also what is hard is the particular guitar, again, as we were saying, the way it responds to thicker strings or how it feels with thicker versus thinner strings. It's very hard to jump between, like, for example, an SG with 9s and a Tele with 10s and immediately be able to be like, I can tell what's what. Yeah, because I guess, an SG with 10s would feel very different.
Yeah,
than a Tele with 10s.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do guitar number 3. You really got to yank on that. I put this. Anybody who owns a Telecaster should 100% do the spot on the guitar. I have it in both of my Teles here. It's on the bottom. Can we get a bottom shot here? Something? Anything? There we go. Boom. They're I'm forgetting the name. They're the stupid thing there. It always pulls out when you play gigs, and this one screws in. You can probably see the screws on the side. It is an electrosocket. Is that what they call it? I can't remember. Now I'm on the spot. I'm forgetting everything. It's amazing. It's like I know, right? It's like a $5 mod, and it's the best thing you can do to a Telecaster outside of a master bridge. But that's my personal opinion. Okay, guitar number 3.
Butterscotch Telly. I think while I'm tuning, do you want to maybe talk about what coded strings even are? Because I think some people might not know.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's talk about all the big things you'll come across in strings. So we've talked about the size of them. Generally, talk about the high E string, 9s, 10s, 11s, probably what you're going to be dealing with. You can go down to 8s or up higher, of course. And then you're also going to see probably different materials sometimes. I find on electric, it's not as big a deal as maybe acoustic. That's people are going to be like, no, man, it makes a big difference. But like, it's not as drastic to me. And then coded versus, I was going to say round wound versus flat wound strings. And then there's half wound strings too, which I've never really tried. I feel like nothing about it seems like what I want, but that's okay. Some people it's great. But yeah, so round wound strings, they have like a core wire, and then they wrap the wire around that core wire. I'm saying wire a lot.
Round
the wound. The round of the wound strings.
Wound strings.
That's gonna end up as a story on our Instagram. I can feel it already. It like winds around, and you get the kind of like that feeling. Whereas flat, it's kind of like
flat.
It's flat. It's like smooth. You don't feel the like rigidity of the word of the day. Rigidity of the like bumps that are going across. It's just like a smooth surface. Really good I love them on bass. I have flats on this guitar. I put flats on here because it's like the very like surfy thing is to play with flat wounds. So it's like normally on most guitars you would hear like if you did that, but on this you hear nothing or very little.
So Tom Morello would hate it.
Yeah, it would not work for a lot of people.
You couldn't get those like pick scratches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a mouse squeak. Yeah, this is like
nothing. Yeah, it's funny. Speaking about flats on the bass, here's a little story. Let's get anecdotal. Over the weekend, I was recording my second single, and I'm playing, I guess, all the parts on it. And, I was laying down the bass, and I have a jazz bass. I have a Geddy Lee Signature Fender jazz bass. And the strings are like almost a decade old. They're like old. But honestly, I think that's sometimes great for bass tone. But I was trying to get a slap sound, and they were just like too dead, which is funny because jazz basses are usually great for slap. And then just coincidentally, I finally was able to get my hands on a Fender P bass. They sent me this really beautiful green Aerodyne sparkly, the Shrek bass. Thank you. Thank you for calling her by her name. And what's funny is, I really want a P bass so I can put flats on it, because that's like the Motown classic sound. I would love to do that, and I think I still will. But I ended up re-recording the slap part on that bass the next day because it was so new. The strings were bright enough. And that's where I got this injury. I don't think I realized at the time, but I don't know. I guess I did something.
Wow.
I had to slap so much that weekend.
Commitment.
I had to re-record the whole bass part because I was like, I don't like the tone I got the other day. But yeah, slap bass can be dangerous somehow. I actually don't know how this happened. Right. I do not know.
Not slapping the bass, not slapping the bass player.
Right. Yeah. Those are two different things, though both important in their own way. Anyways.
Coded. I didn't even get to that.
Yeah, coded the first thing I asked.
The first thing. We're back. So coded versus uncoded strings. So once you have I don't think I've ever seen coded flat wounds ever. Coded round wounds, they put a coating on it so basically the string can last longer, so it doesn't oxidize as quickly, and like yada yada yada. They put some magic coating onto it. I don't know the specifics, but Elixir was one of the early ones to do it. And some of theirs are great. Like they have two kinds. There's like nano web and poly web, and I'm sure there's other webs that they use. But
Spider webs.
Spider web technology. Anyway,
that's not true, guys.
And Guitareo just started doing their XS strings. I'm a huge fan of those personally. I have them on the guitar. Not this guitar, but the one you played before.
Oh yeah.
That was my first time trying the electric ones. Really dig those. And then on my acoustic, love those. Oh my goodness, I was like, and then I put them on, and then I was like, oh, never changing these again. And the cool thing with coated strings is you don't have to change them as often,
right?
Unless you've got like fiery sweat or something in your
greasy hands.
But overly greasy, like spiced grease, I guess. You know?
Do you just like sweat chili oil?
If you sweat chili oil, the coating may not last as long.
Enough chili oil that I might.
Okay.
I might. Just so you know.
But yeah, so the coated strings, if you don't want to change your strings very much, I know a lot of touring guitar players, I know some of them were using coated, and they like it because they don't have to change their strings every like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
So for some people it works great. Some people don't like the feel of it and think it doesn't work. That's all personal preference. I'm lazy. I don't like changing strings very much. So I'm like, cool, I don't have to do this for 4 to 6 months. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, let's get back to it.
Yeah. One last thing about coated strings. Not even just about strings, but actually lately I've been coated because the weather's getting colder. So when I leave my apartment, I get really cold. And I'm like, I should put a coat on.
That's it. That's the show. Bye.
Wait, bring it back.
We're
Stop.
back.
Come back. Oh, amazing. You're trying to silence me and my puns, but I'll never stop. I'm sorry. You are
the queen of dad jokes, that's for sure.
It's true. I really am.
Yeah.
It's actually quite incredible. And not in all the best ways. But anyways, let's get back to this guitar. It certainly has 11s on it.
100% does.
Very heavy.
Try to do that bend you did on the 9s.
Ow!
Come join us in Guitar Riff, where Ayla gets carpal tunnel.
Worth it. Yeah, it's a lot harder. Again, I feel that I, with enough time, could adjust this guitar, but also, why? Like, if I were playing a guitar like this, I'd want it to be for, I don't know, rhythm guitar, funk rhythm guitar, or jazz or something like that. Yeah. I wouldn't want it to be like lead guitar bending kind of situation, because that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, totally. I think of the string choices in AC/DC as I was doing some research on both of them, and Angus uses 9s, from what I understand, and then Malcolm uses 12s.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the way that they play is so different, right? Like, Malcolm's never gonna, or may he rest in peace, was never wanted to go out and take a guitar solo, but played some insane rhythm, you know? And Angus did play a lot of rhythm, but he had to do those crazy bends. Some of those AC/DC bends are insane.
Totally. If I were exclusively playing rhythm guitar and never going to bend, maybe I would want 12s or something heavier than that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about baritone guitars in a second, but to give an example, on my baritone guitar, I want it for like heavy, funky rhythm guitar type stuff, or like really just like heavy riffs in general and whatever. And I love that there are heavier strings on there. It feels great for that style of playing.
Yeah.
But for any other style of playing, it does not feel so great. Yeah.
So you actually guessed most. I know the coated strings kind of threw you for a loop there, but you're bang on for the other two. Yeah, and I think I don't know. Do you have a preference between the three? Because none of those here are your guitars. So.
It's true. None of them are. I'd say certainly not for like regular all-round playing. Not this guitar. I feel like I'd be limited by it. I think the 9s were fun, but overall, perhaps a little bit on the, sorry, I'm just watching the screen. Is there slow motion going on right now?
There was, yeah.
That's wild. Cool. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I think I would choose the coated 10s.
Coated 10s, hey?
I actually really liked how they felt. And again, 10s are what I'm most comfortable with. But Yeah, the nines, if I were doing lead guitar exclusively, I wouldn't necessarily mind. But for rhythm stuff, it just doesn't feel as satisfying. There just isn't as much to like dig into, you know?
Sure.
So a lot of it is even just the feel and then how you play as a reaction to the feel, which is exactly what you said earlier in the stream. And I think that's a very valuable point because at the end of the day, a lot of tone really just comes from you and how you play and your touch on the instrument. So if what you put on the instrument affects your touch on the instrument, then, well, it's important.
Yeah. I think it's fun to experiment because you get to know. I would do, like, you may not have 3 guitars to do it to. You can absolutely do it to a single guitar. You just would have to change the strings each time. But I think everybody should experiment with their string sizing. You never know what you're going to like. Like, we both settled on 10s, but it doesn't mean that's the right choice for you.
And we both tried other strings as well.
Yeah, and I have guitars that are on 11s, like my 335 and this guitar have 11s.
And I'd imagine that's for jazz and surf music, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is my surf general here, and then the Captain Surf, and then I've got, and then my 335 I play a lot of jazz on. I got a big jazz hollow body that has 12s on it because I'm not bending on that thing. I don't plan on it. So so I think part of it is, you know, don't be afraid to experiment. I will say if your guitar came with 10s. You can go down to 9s. The instrument will be okay. But if you go up for extended periods of time, you may need to get your guitar set up. Eventually, the intonation might get a little funny on the instrument. So just it's things to keep in mind as you change strings. It could happen if you go down to 9s, but definitely if you go up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's dive into... Oh, let's bring out the baritones. I like that somebody wrote these strings go to 11. So good.
Oh man, Spinal Tap, the best movie.
So good.
The best movie. So I think what we want to try here is to take a guitar with, I mean, which one do we want to take? Maybe the coated 10s?
Or maybe, because the 11s will be the thickest, and we can pull it.
That's a good point,
We'll
Ken.
do that.
Okay, we're going to tune this telly down to where my baritone is, and we're just going to see if they feel and sound different. So they'll be in the same tuning, but, you know, they have very different strings. Like, I think these are, what do you think are on here? 12s? Maybe heavier.
I think baritones, it depends on the company, but it'll probably be like 13 or higher, most likely.
All right, so
maybe
we'll
14.
see if they feel any different. So yeah, I'm tuned to B.
Down to B, okay.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Okay.
E. And then A. Yeah, D. G flat.
And that's down to B.
B again.
These strings gonna fall off.
It might. I love this guitar.
Baritones are sick. Everybody should own a baritone guitar.
It's my favorite guitar. Well, one of my favorites. Yeah, you can immediately hear the difference.
They're so floppy.
You can hear how floppy they sound. Like, you can hear the string, like, rebounding against the fretboard. You know?
It's so wild.
Let's play like identical licks and see how they sound different.
Okay, so this thing's not staying in tune.
Okay, well, my cable just fell out of my guitar.
Wow, we're just having a whole load of technical issues here. Okay, here we go.
All right.
It's almost like playing 9s or something. Everything's
Not less?
Like, because it's like, the feeling,
9s?
You know, the like...
Is it the feeling of 9s, or does it feel like less than 9s?
It feels like, I would say it's like around there or something.
Okay.
It's weird. It's a very odd sensation.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, I think overall, my conclusion is that this guitar sounds like it's supposed to be in the tuning it's in.
100%.
And this one is a little crazy.
It is a little wild. So if you are into death metal and like other stuff, you probably will want like thicker strings to get down there. This guitar is not staying in tune.
Yeah,
wow.
It's not supposed to be there.
No.
And yeah, again, I got a baritone because I really loved Mark Lettieri and his like heavy, funky playing, and I was like, I want that. And again, you know, I was tuning my guitars lower and lower and lower, and to a degree, if you're very careful, you could make a guitar like this sound like it's supposed to be in a super low tuning, even with really thin strings, if you're just very mindful of your touch on the instrument. Because again, if you do vibrato the way you normally do, yeah, like that sounds insane, right? And also, again, being aware of the weird kind of like looseness you can hear.
Right.
Like you can somehow hear how loose those strings are.
Yeah, maybe you're just a
guitar.
jangly individual, so you want the like
maybe
loosey, you know, do
yeah,
whatever's right for you.
And I'm not saying that's subjectively a sound you want to avoid. Maybe you're hearing this and you're like, oh my God, that's my sound. I want that. But you know, I think generally if you're trying to make the guitar sound like it's supposed to be in that lower tuning, these are variables you'd want to avoid.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I think let's put a yes or no answer to the question. Does string size matter?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, I would agree.
100%.
I think. Oh, let's see. We had. When was the last? Oh, okay. I saw some questions about last time you changed your strings. I saw there's some questions in the chat there.
Yeah. Again, for me, it depends on the instrument. Like some of my basses, actually all of my basses, I've never changed the strings.
Some people like the sound of really old strings.
Yeah.
It's really
on my basses, I definitely do. I mean, my J bass, it might be a little much now. Maybe now's the time.
It's a thick coating of chili oil.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Because on top of all of this, I sweat chili oil, as I said.
Yeah.
I was not lying, guys. That's the truth. And on other guitars, usually on my electric guitars, at a certain point, they just start feeling very grimy.
Yeah.
I like the feeling of older strings more than brand new, fresh strings, but there's a point at which it's a little much, you know?
There is a sweet spot, I think. I think the freshest of fresh strings, like that crisp new strings sound, you know, is...
I hate it.
It takes a little bit to break them in, I think.
Yeah.
There's like a sweet spot in there. But cool. There's a lot of questions in our members area. I didn't even mention this at the beginning. We were doing a giveaway today.
Oh, yeah.
Stick around, though, because we'll do it at the end. We're going to give away a membership to those watching on the YouTubes. You got to stick around, though. And then on the YouTubes. And then for
That's what my dad would say for sure.
And then in our awesome members area, we love you guys. We're going to give away a Guitareo swag pack, which includes some strings and other stuff. I can't remember what's in it now. See, I'm on the spot. I can't remember. There's stuff in there that's cool. It's awesome. You're going to love it.
You got to write notes on your arm, like with Sharpie.
It would be full, though. It would just like, I wouldn't even be able to discern like things on my, anyway. So definitely hang out towards the end and we'll give away some stuff here. But first we're going to get to questions from our members area. Those who are watching on YouTube that maybe want to ask a question, you can sign up for a trial at guitareo.com/trial and get a membership 7 days there. Hang out. You can ask us questions during the Guitar Riff every week. Our members are awesome. Come hang out. Yeah. They're incredible.
It's a wonderful little community we got going on.
Yes. Okay. So let's dive into our questions from our member side. We have Tim who wrote, I guess we kind of talked about it, but any advantage to the Elixir coated strings? I would say, I don't want to use the word advantage or disadvantage. They're just different. So if it serves what you need, then great. The coated strings will last longer. Yeah. That's just an objective thing. They will last longer than uncoated strings. Mm-hmm. Whether they sound better or not is more subjective. Yeah. And some people may like them, some people may hate them, but they will last longer.
Right.
Unless you have chili oil fingers.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Elixir is not the only brand that does coated strings a lot more. I don't know if Ernie Ball does.
They do. Yeah, they have the cobalts. I know that for sure.
Right.
and maybe they have some other ones. But yeah, I haven't tried them, so I don't want to speak to it because I don't think that would help anyone. So
Right. Yeah.
move on to the next question.
Yeah, there we go. But Elixir was like the OG coding folks, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't want to get that wrong, so maybe I'll just retract that statement. Elixir was one of the early adopters of coded strings, and then Guitareo has just started doing them, and I'm a big fan of those. The XS strings, fantastic. I tried their coded nylon string actually. They have X something XL, not XL. I don't know, whatever. They have coded nylon strings, really cool. Because if there's one thing I hate more than restringing normal guitars, it's restringing nylon guitars.
Oh yeah,
is the worst
disaster.
It is a disaster waiting to happen. So so coded nylons were speaking my language. So I got a set and I love them. So
yeah.
Ivan wrote, if you change your string size, would you have to tweak the intonation?
Again, it's what you were saying. It's really mostly if you go to heavier strings.
Yeah, you may have to. It's going to be so guitar dependent, and like there'll be other factors in there too. So it's just one of those. Just keep an eye on it. You might notice that the intonation starts to go, and it's a fairly easy fix on most guitars.
Yeah, and a lot of it also depends on how big the jump is. I mean, I'm sure if you went from 12s to 9s, it could be a little wild.
Yeah, if you're going one, I know they have half gauge strings. That should be my hot take. I think half gauge strings are a waste of everybody's time.
Whoa.
But like 10.5s. I don't have time for that. I spent years figuring out if I like 9s, 10s, or 11s, and I have to think about 10.5s. I'm gonna get myself in trouble with all the string companies, but
you're done.
That's it. Yeah, no more strings for Kent. I better like old strings now because these are the last ones I'll ever get. But yeah, just keep an eye on the intonation. If you change the string gauge,
I mean, more than keeping an eye on the intonation, you'd probably want to like feel it and hear it because can't.
Yeah. Sorry, don't look at your intonation.
Yeah. It looks like it might be off. The cable fell out of the guitar again. I'm just gonna leave it.
Did you do that mod to your telly?
Nope. And that's why. Oh my goodness, that really just proved your point.
See?
Wow. And I didn't even try. That wasn't even.
We didn't even script that.
That was not scripted.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
$5. It's all parts makes it. I'm sure there's other companies do, but the jack that comes out, it like winds around the jack and then you drill it into the guitar.
And is that why I could not unplug this guitar?
Yeah, it's like it's in.
Right.
Yeah, it's
plugged.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, yeah. Andrew wrote a couple questions here. Any thoughts on electric strings on acoustic guitars? Sorry, let me rephrase this. I said this wrong. Any thoughts on electric strings on acoustic guitars or vice versa?
Oh.
I've tried that. It doesn't work well. The acoustic strings on electric doesn't work as far as pickups because the material.
Yeah, it just doesn't resonate.
Yeah, it doesn't have the correct magnetic pull. I don't know. I'm not a physicist. It doesn't work as well. So the you can try it. Do whatever you want. There's no guitar police that's going to come after you. Guitareo doesn't have a hit squad out there. So
Hold on, you're not a physicist?
No.
How did you get this job then?
No.
They made sure I was a physicist.
Really? Oh wow. I forged my degree. Yeah. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So what was I saying? Electric. Oh yeah, acoustic guitar strings on the electric.
Yeah.
Do it if you want. It's just your amp will be very quiet. And then the other way I've also tried, and you lose a lot of the resonance. Although I like the Martin retro acoustic strings. I think they're really cool. They're kind of almost made out of this material that's almost electric strings.
So you think you could put that on an electric guitar?
Maybe. I haven't tried actually. I put that on an Acoustasonic, which oddly enough was the next question. I have those on my Acoustasonic.
So it's a question mark, I guess.
Guitareo makes a similar set. They call it, I can see the package in my brain. It's a brown package. I think it says NB on it. Nickel bound. I don't know. Anyway.
Nickelback?
But yeah, it's the Nickelback strings.
Nice.
Yeah. I could see the photograph. I looked at the photograph every time.
Look at this graph. Did you ever see that meme where they photoshopped a graph into Chad Kroeger's
It's classic internet.
Look at this graph.
So good.
That's such a good one, man.
But yeah, Nickelback strings. Bringing them back, I guess. How did we get here?
Moving on.
But yeah, try it out. There's no string police. Do whatever you want. It just may or may not work. Sorry, any string recommendations for Fender Acoustasonics? Not sure whether to go acoustic or electric. We both own Acoustasonics.
Yeah.
I use the Martin Retros on them, and I find it works
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when because I did a demo for that guitar when it first came out a couple of years ago. And on the higher strings, I think I might have put electric strings on there because I wanted to do a lot of bending. And but actually maybe that's not true. Never mind. I don't want to.
You could potentially, like, there's no reason why you can't experiment with it. And like,
Yeah.
fortunately, strings are cheap. So I would just go, I wouldn't buy like expensive, like coated strings to test, but I would buy the cheapo, like $5, $8. I don't know what strings cost anymore. They're like in my mind, it's like 2015. But yeah, like whatever it costs now for like just a basic set of strings. Don't go fancy if you're testing. Unless you want to know, like, do you like the fancy brand? That's different. But like, I would, to figure out what gauge or what style of string works, I would just go for a cheapo string and test it out.
Yeah, and I think, again, the whole point of the Acoustasonic is it could go either way, probably to a higher degree than most other guitars could, because the whole point is it like kind of sits in the gray area between acoustic and electric.
100%. Yeah. I've tried acoustic strings on it and it's okay, but for me the Retros hit the mark for that guitar, for at least for my purposes. But I bet electric strings could work well on it.
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting. Give it a try. Let us know what works for you. I mean, we'd be curious.
We are curious.
Excellent. All right. Jens wrote, "Is there a benefit to using thicker strings?"
Again, that seems pretty subjective. I think at this point we've shown that it's really just up to the style of music you want to play, the way you want to play the guitar, and just personally what feels good to you.
Yeah. And I think things he might, if you're going to do drop tunings or like anything like that, like if you are into like hardcore metal and you're going to be playing in like drop A, and like you're going to need some beefy strings to not have it be like Flop City on you. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. It's less about the kind of player you are and more just even what the guitar is for. Because like, I think at a certain point, I mean, yes, there are a lot of players who would label themselves as, I am this kind of player, I'm a death metal player, I'm a funk player, whatever. But personally, I don't think I'd be able to do that if someone asked me. So I think, it's also about the guitar. Because I do have, for example, wow, I'm blanking on the brand. A guitar that's good for metal.
Okay.
They sent it to me and I don't remember the brand. That's terrible. But yeah, that guitar, again, I'm not a death metal player, but that guitar is for metal. So it makes sense to have strings that are appropriate for that. As similarly, this baritone guitar, same situation. I want this guitar to be for those really beefy, heavy riffs or funk parts. So that's why I have heavier strings on here. It's not that I'm exclusively that type of player. It's just that it is a facet of my playing. So that's another way to look at it too, if you feel like you can't fit yourself so neatly into describing what kind of player you are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Chesapeake wrote, can you elaborate on how you can hear with your eyes? I've never heard that before.
Oh, I think just what I was saying is what you see might change how you perceive the sound. For example, seeing an artist and maybe the way they're dressed could change how you perceive the way they're playing, the way they look. I think this is less of a musical thing and more of like a psychological thing. Similar to how you could have like two gummies that taste pretty much the same, but based on the color, you might be like, oh, this one's strawberry flavored versus blueberry flavored, when in actuality, they maybe taste the same. So you're perceiving the taste differently. And I think they've done studies on that. And I think that applies to sound as well. You just perceive it differently based on what you see.
Right. And then some people have like synesthesia. I think
that's a whole other thing too.
Where they hear color, they see colors based on the sound they're hearing.
Yeah, that's a whole other layer.
Cool. Jens wrote, what's the average number of hours of playtime one gets on a set of strings?
It also depends probably how you're playing, maybe.
Yeah, I just base it off time. If you're playing like every single day, you're not using coated strings, you're using regular old guitar strings, you probably want to change your strings every 1 to 2 months, I would say.
Maybe.
If you're a touring musician, it would probably be more than that. Mm-hmm. And then if you're playing like every other day, you can kind of stretch it out a little bit. But probably I would say regardless, every 2 to 4 months, you should probably be changing your strings.
I mean, I don't usually keep track. I mostly just go based off of when they feel like they need a change.
Right. And when you see the layer of crust develop on them, then you know
Yeah.
it's their time. It's
It's
time
like,
to go.
I think for me, what I use as a benchmarker is when I feel like the guitars are not giving me the resonance that I want, and
Right.
they're just sounding a little too dull. That's when I'm like, all right, it's time for you to go.
Yeah. Usually, if I
Yeah.
can't remember the last time I changed the strings on a certain guitar, I will change them.
And yeah, that usually lines up with what I was saying.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand quite nicely.
Yeah. All right. Andrew Patterson wrote, why do some folks say the body type, example solid versus hollow, of electric guitars give it different tones? Surely the pickups just pick up the strings, or does the body affect the vibration of pickups or strings, or both?
Yeah, all of the above, I'd say. Those are all variables that affect the sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everything, somebody told me once, like, everything on the guitar matters.
Yeah.
It's just how much does it matter?
Right.
And I think like everything from like what tuning heads are on the top of your guitar versus the material of the nut versus like it all matters. It's just like it might only matter like a fraction of a percent of the guitar's tone.
But I'd say that's the thing that could influence it a huge amount. That's one of those variables that you can really hear and feel the difference.
Yeah, totally. And I think when I go like, we should do a show, bring a hollow body, semi-hollow, and then a solid body, and just hear the difference. We should do that for sure.
Totally.
But I think the resonance against you will make a difference too. Like I think, I think plugged in, like if you're hearing solely the guitar, it's very subtle because pickups are a huge part of that.
Yeah.
But everything kind of plays a role together. It's all kind of like, I don't know. It's like a cake. Everything's got like its purpose in there.
You know, the tone is X plus Y plus Z. You know, there are lots of different variables that are going to impact it to different degrees. And we'll definitely do more.
Yeah, and I think the resonance on the top of the guitar, like if it's hollow, will be a lot different than just like a thick chunk of wood like this. Yeah,
so resonance, that's a huge part of it.
Another question from, I'm sorry if I'm going to butcher your name, but Mais Monster. When practicing bends, would you rather practice with 9s or 11s or 10s?
Or 10s. I mean, I think I would practice on the strings you intend to play on. I think without a doubt, you'll have an easier time bending on lighter strings. But yeah, again, like as someone personally who likes playing on 10s, I would practice on 10s more than 9s just because I play on 10s more. That being said, if your bending technique gets really strong, you'll be able to switch between them. It'll just take a little bit of adjusting, but it's not like if you practice on one string gauge, you'll never be able to move between them. That being said, if you can bend on 11s, you can certainly bend on 9s. If you can bend on 9s, you're going to have to work pretty hard if you switch to 11s to, you know, keep increasing your strength to be able to bend on those as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's the answer. There you go. Excellent. All right.
Those were all the member questions.
Those were all of the member questions for our lovely members. Oh, did I see one pop up? No, we're good. Okay. Excellent.
Wonderful.
Right. Oh, they said your physics degree is coming in with your X plus Y plus Z plus Z. That's where
yeah, guys, I definitely have a physics degree.
That's funny. Cool. All right, let's do our giveaways.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting something? I feel like you looked at me like I forgot something.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
That's just my face, naturally. Everyone I look at, they're like, did I forget something? That's just Would you hear that?
Okay.
Who am I talking to? I don't know.
Just the general.
Just the general room.
All right. Let's do our YouTube giveaway. We're going to give away an annual Guitareo membership to one lucky member. We're going to keep an eye on the chat here. What we're going to do, instead of me picking at random, because the chat went insane last time, although it probably will after me asking a question. But we're able to hone in who was the first one. So everybody get your keyboard fingers ready.
Or toes.
Or toes, whatever. Type however you want to type. It's fine. Voice act, whatever. Get ready to type. So what question should we ask?
What is the material that I supposedly sweat from my fingers that requires me to change the strings?
Throw it in the YouTube chat. Whoever puts that in.
I would like to think that someone is using the voice to text thing.
Yeah, there we go. John R. was the first one.
Well, he just said chili. He didn't say chili oil.
Chili oil. That's true.
I don't know. I can't decide in these situations. Someone else do it for me.
No, you
But I'd
gotta
like to
decide you
think
brought it up.
someone said, "Hey Siri," and then
Hey Siri, chili oil.
I love the thought of that.
Amazing. Okay. You know what? We'll do Family Feud style. I guess we'll just, John R. I think chili oil. I think
That's good.
we're
That's
good. John R., congratulations. You can shoot us an email at team@guitareo.com and we will get you hooked up with an annual Guitareo membership. Welcome to the community. We're excited to have you in. Those of you who want to be part of the community and didn't win this time, you can absolutely sign up for our 7-day free trial, guitareo.com/trial. Come hang out in the members area. It's better over there. Yeah, it's great. You're going to love it. So come hang out. John, are you still here? Oh, yeah, I saw the hooray.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, John, yeah, shoot us an email, team@guitareo.com. We'll get you hooked up. We're excited to have you with us. And I think we have some sales and stuff going on too. I should have had them pulled up. If you can absolutely sign up for a membership too, but the trial is a good way to go. See if you like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's do our member giveaway.
Let's do it.
Members, you're getting a Guitareo swag pack, strings. There's some cleaning supplies.
String cutter?
I think there's a string cutter.
String winder?
String winder, is that in there? I think it's in there. Anyway, there's cool stuff. You're gonna love it. All right, let's pick a question here.
Does it have to be guitar related?
No.
Oh, this is too niche. I can't ask it. Never mind.
Well, it should be something from the stream, I think.
Yeah, it was a wild card one. I'm not
Okay,
gonna say
just
it.
way out there. Okay.
Oh, we put coated strings on a guitar with which string gauge?
Ooh.
Ooh,
What was the string
number?
gauge?
What was the number?
What was the number of the string gauge? Ooh, Andrew Scott. You were the first one. I saw that in there.
Woo!
Way to go, Andrew. You got speedy fingers. Amazing.
Yeah.
Andrew got 10s. Yes, the coated strings were 10s. Amazing. Andrew, shoot me an email, kent@guitareo.com, and we'll get that swag pack sent out to you. That is awesome.
Yay!
Congrats.
Good
So
job.
cool. Amazing. Excellent. Let me look through my list. Did we forget to do anything? I don't think we did. We did our baritone
Am I
strings.
allowed to just say one thing about Family Feud? The best answer I have ever seen. Steve Harvey asked, "What, like fill in the blank, pork, blank, right?" I mean, I'm assuming most people would say pork, like pork sandwich or pork belly or whatever. This guy said pork upine.
I remember that.
That's
It's
the
so
best
good.
Family Feud answer I've ever seen
Incredible.
in my life.
Amazing.
Pork upine.
Pork, you pine. I remember that. That's such a great clip.
That's a classic.
Steve Harvey is hilarious in that. Amazing. Okay. Congrats to our winners, to John R. and our lovely YouTube community. You are now a Guitareo member, or you will be once you send us an email. And Andrew Scott, congrats on winning the Guitareo swag pack. We'll get that sent out to you. It's so exciting.
Amazing. Should we
incredible.
jam a little bit?
We should jam a little. Oh, my strings are still floppy. Let me change to a different guitar here.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We had a great time. Maybe, come by next time and hang out with us. We're doing this every week. I know we're having a great time. We hope you guys are as well.
Yeah.
I love just connecting with, all the guitar players out there, seeing what you have to say, hanging out with y'all, and hey, you might even win the giveaway if you keep trying. It's pure statistics, guys.
Yeah, right.
The more you do it, the more likely it is you'll win at some point.
It's true. You need to tune this bad
Thank
boy
you
up.
so much. All right. We're going to jam a little bit. I'm on my baritone and you're on your coated
Nope.
10s. No?
No.
No?
Hang on.
Oh, those are the 11s.
Hang on. I'm gonna swap guitars. Cable's not cooperating.
Okay, I'll just keep playing while you swap.